Larry Johnson and Ohio State have done it again, landed another big time recruit in Kayden McDonald. But before we get into it, please go ahead, hit that like and the subscribe button. Let me know what you guys are thinking down in the comments below. Do you think Kayden McDonald will be able to make the field in his first year at Ohio State? Okay, so earlier today, Kayden McDonald has beat the scheduled commitment time that was given on 247 Sports, and he has decided to announce that he is going to be going to the Ohio State University. And this is a huge win for Larry Johnson, Ryan Day, and that staff over there, as Kayden McDonald is a guy that is going to be able to make impact at the College 5 level pretty quickly. So he's a 6'3", 300-pound, and honestly, he possesses a lot of talent there, and he has a really good body and frame. One thing is, there's a lot of upside for what Kayden McDonald could potentially do. He's really strong. So one thing you notice when you watch him in his film is this guy is just completely explosive off the line of scrimmage. He is completely quick in the way that he moves his feet. And when you play at Ohio State, and not necessarily in the Big Ten, but when you go to play against other conferences, especially in the college football playoffs, which Ohio State is going to go have a chance every single year, you need defensive linemen, especially interior defensive linemen, that are going to be explosive off the line of scrimmage and are quick on their feet, because you're going to be going up against, sometimes smaller offensive linemen or just more skilled offensive linemen than maybe there would be in your conference. I really like him, right? In his junior year, he totaled 62 tackles, which were a loss, and 20 sacks. He also accredited 15 quarterback hurries, 3 pass breakups, caught a touchdown pass as well. You know that Kayden McDonald at Ohio State is definitely going to be utilized tremendously. 2021, he had 95 tackles, 62 tackles for loss, 20 sacks. In 2020, he had 56 tackles, 29 tackles for loss, 12 sacks. So you continue to see him progress and progress and progress and get better. This is definitely a guy that could scratch maybe a top 150 player by the end of the recruiting cycle. And like I said, is a huge get. He was looked at potentially going to a place like Clemson early on because that's closest to home. But then you started to hear some traction pick up between Oklahoma and Todd Bates. Todd Bates was going out there and visiting him. And then you heard Larry Johnson and Ohio State start to creep in and start to get in on this commitment. And you guys know Larry Johnson has a track record of producing good defensive linemen out there at Ohio State, putting them in the NFL. And so for Kayden McDonald to make a decision to go play for a guy like this definitely cannot be a wrong decision. It can only be a good decision. Now, where does Ohio State go from here? Because Ohio State now sits at number 4 in the class rankings with a 285.13 composite score with only 20 commits. The thing is, Ohio State is still in contention for a lot of really good players. The only 5-star that Ohio State currently holds in this class is Brandon Ennis, who was previously committed to Oklahoma as a 5-star wide receiver, number 23 overall player. That's who they currently hold. Outside of that, the rest of them are 4 and 3 stars. And so they have a lot of opportunity to improve this class. We're going to kind of walk through who some of those players are. I believe they're heavily in there for Keon Keeley, the 5-star edge rusher who was committed to Notre Dame and decommitted. I believe they're really in there. They're in there for James Smith and Samson Okunoalola. However, I don't think they land either of those two, but they're in contention. Another guy that actually is crystal balled to end up at Ohio State, Damon Wilson. He is a 5-star edge rusher, 230 pounds, 6'4" guy, going to make an instant impact. Another guy that's potentially being looked, I don't think he's going to end up there, Samuel M. Pempemba. And then you have Mateo Uiagalelei. Now, we all know that's the younger brother of DJ Uiagalelei, who is the quarterback out at Clemson. And I think Ohio State would potentially have a good shot for this kid. So we're going to go ahead and add them in there. They're looking at Jordan Hall, a 6'2", 225-pound, 4-star linebacker. Also a 4-star, 165-pound, 5'10" cornerback in this class. If they land all 3 of those guys, they're at 308. Right now, that puts them at number 2, right behind Alabama, and gets Ohio State right in there with the elite of the elite right now going into 2024 with the best overall player in that class. And there's still a couple other guys that we didn't mention, like Desmond Ricks, who just reclassified, that they could very well potentially land. So we'll have to keep a close eye on Ohio State and what their recruitment looks like. But again, Kayden McDonald, he commits to the Ohio State University. This is a huge blow for Todd Bates in Oklahoma. You really thought you had a good shot to land him. And I felt like between Oklahoma fans and kind of what we were hearing, you kind of really felt confident that they were going to be able to close this one. But ultimately, Kayden McDonald, he went with his gut. He went what he felt was the right decision for him, and he chose Larry Johnson and the Buckeyes. But that's going to wrap it up. So if you guys haven't already, please go ahead, hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps me out a lot. And let me know, do you guys think that Kayden McDonald will start for his first year at The Ohio State University?